The old man arrives via teleport into the Great Elro Labyrinth and is immediately greeted by what can only be described as the most overwhelming spider-related experience in the history of recorded adventures. The labyrinth is, as standard, total darkness. The kind that does not suggest mystery so much as suggest that light has never been welcome here and has adjusted its schedule accordingly. Stone walls slick with moisture, air that smells of mineral damp and old death. The darkness of a place that has been killing things for longer than anyone has been recording it. Against all of this, white. Hundreds, potentially thousands, of white spiders fill the cavern. Not off-white, not bone, not the dirty cream of things that have been underground a long time. White the way new thread is white, the way things are white, when they have no reason to be anything else. Their legs catch what little ambient light the labyrinth produces and fracture it. Their eyes glow faintly red, which is the only color in the scene, and somehow makes the white look whiter. They move in the dark as if they own it, which, functionally, they do. They vary from palm-sized hatchlings to waist-height behemoths, all sporting the distinctive scythe-shaped front legs that mark them as clearly related to the nightmare. The smallest ones look crushable. The largest ones could meaningfully inconvenience a rookie adventurer. The floor is blanketed with eggs, themselves white, almost luminous, so that the whole cavern floor seems to glow faintly from below, the only light source in a labyrinth that produces no light, generated entirely by the biological process of more spiders arriving. Eggs are hatching. Newly hatched spiders devour their own shells and leave to hunt. Other spiders return with monster corpses. In the center of this impeccably organized nightmare, 9 spiders of unusual bearing eat the corpses and lay more eggs. The whole apparatus is a perpetual motion machine of violence and reproduction, running entirely in the dark, lit by itself. It is somehow beautiful and horrible in equal measure. The old man hides himself with stealth and illusion magic before any of this registers. Smart man. He watches, he processes what he is seeing. The sound registers first before the image makes full sense. A constant low percussion underneath everything else, crunch by crunch by crunch, as hatching spiders bite through their own shells and immediately begin eating the fragments. Not chaotic, rhythmic, unhurried, like something mechanical that has been running so long it has no memory of ever stopping. Crunch, 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 crunch. Each one a spider that didn't exist a moment ago and now does, and is already eating, and will soon be hunting. The sound of the labyrinth producing itself, continuously, from the inside. He begins to understand, this is how the nightmare got strong. Not through safe, reasonable training in a controlled environment, but through this, a literal hell, where the survival rate probably isn't worth calculating. The realization hits him with the force of something he's been trying not to think about for a long time. All of his careful, considered, sensible training suddenly looks embarrassingly timid by comparison. He starts crying. Not a dignified single tear, actual weeping, sobs echoing through the cavern. He did activate stealth and illusion magic, so this was entirely avoidable, but apparently some emotional revelations cannot be contained. The spiders notice him immediately. Several surround him. He prostrates himself, tears and snot and all, and makes his pitch. He knows these spiders are connected to the nightmare. Please could they arrange an apprenticeship? He will wait as long as necessary. He has never been more serious about anything in his life. The 9 queens confer via telepathy in a language he has never heard before. He can hear the exchange, but understands nothing. Based on tone alone, he suspects they are debating what to do with the weeping old man on their floor. Their conclusion: ignore him. No attacks, no acknowledgement. He simply stops existing in their operational awareness. This does not dissuade him. He decides to wait for the nightmare to appear personally, and in the meantime, to learn everything he can from these spiders' training methods. He has found his path. He also no longer has any food, but he'll cross that bridge when he comes to it. What follows is a training regimen that would make most humans reconsider their life choices. The grown spiders rotate through wind magic and earth magic bombardment to raise their resistance skills, spell rotations so efficient that no one's MP sits idle for a moment. Others spar with genuine killing intent, kept alive only by the constant application of healing magic. Some venture into the middle stratum's volcanic heat to build fire resistance through direct exposure. The old man watches all of this and decides to implement it immediately. He casts attack magic on himself. He is on his knees after one spell. He heals himself. He does it again. There is only him, so he has to be both attacker and healer. One mistimed cast, and he dies alone on the floor of a spider lair, having achieved nothing. He starts laughing, unhinged, genuine laughter echoing off the walls. He has clearly taken leave of his senses. After several days of this, his stomach stages a revolt. He cannot go back to town. What if the nightmare appears while he's gone? He does what the spiders do, hunts a monster, defeats it, eats it. He allows himself one small concession to civilization and cooks it first. The frog monster is poisonous. He discovers this by eating it. The experience is, by every metric, terrible. His poison resistance level rises. Even the food here is training. His clothes were destroyed on the first day of self-bombardment. He has decided not to address this. This is fine. Meeting of the Parallel Minds number 2. Creepy old geezer. That old dude who popped in here is super weird. First of all, don't say popped in. Secondly, nothing that weird could occur naturally. It must be some freaky thing born of totally unique circumstances that's just wearing the skin of an old man. What kind of unique circumstances would create a creature that spews liquid from every part of its face? Beats me. There are probably lots of things in the world that we're better off not knowing. Wait a sec, he's setting his own clothes on fire and cackling like a maniac. What should we do? What's that all about? Seriously, what the hell? What are we even going to do about that? Anyone? I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't see or hear anything. There's no such thing as a naked old geezer running around here. Right? Yes, ma'am. No objections here, for real. Yeah, I don't want anything to do with whatever that is. We just gotta seriously pretend it's not even here. Terrifying. My fear resistance skill isn't even helping now. Talk about scary. Meanwhile, White has a perfectly simple training request for Sophia. Attack yourself with magic, just until your MP is nearly drained. Like this, and she demonstrates with dark magic, which produces what looks like crackling black lightning that she barely reacts to. Sophia, curious, reaches out and touches it. Her hand comes off, not metaphorically, literally. Her hand is no longer attached to her wrist. She passes out. When she wakes up, Merazophis is holding her. The hand has been reattached via healing magic, and she is a complete mess of tears and snot and trauma. The crying takes several minutes to stop, during which time she thoroughly soaks Merazophis's clothes, which is somehow the most embarrassing part of the entire ordeal. When she finally calms down, White looks at her and says, "Okay, now you try." Sophia refuses. White tilts her head in genuine confusion, because as far as White is concerned, Sophia is physically capable of this. So there's no obstacle. The logical gap between physically possible and something any reasonable person would choose to do voluntarily appears to be a blind spot in White's understanding of other people. Ariel explains. The training is meant to raise both magic skill, casting the spell, and resistance skill, enduring the hit, simultaneously. And Sophia doesn't have to use anything near White's power level. She can start weak enough to manage. In fact, she's not even capable of White-level output, so the whole hand removal incident was a demonstration of what not to do, not what to actually attempt. Sophia blinks. Processes this, realizes she spent several minutes in hysterics over a misunderstanding. "I'm sorry," she says, mortified. "Nah, can't really blame you," Ariel says, half glaring at White, who recoils slightly in a way that suggests she may actually feel bad about this, even if she will not be saying so out loud. Their journey to Sariella's capital continues at the pace dictated by Sophia's baby legs. They travel through forests and mountains to avoid roads, sleep outside except when they reach a town every week or so, and Sophia has noticed that every single time they leave a town, Merazophis's mood drops like a stone. She asks him about it. He says everything is fine. This is clearly not true. It's midday. Merazophis is resting in the shade. White is asleep inside a self-constructed cocoon of spider thread. She calls it a simple home. Everyone else calls it slightly alarming. This is Sophia's chance to get some answers from the only adult in the group who actually communicates with words. To be perfectly honest, there's nothing you can do about it, Ariel says. This is not what Sophia wanted to hear. His life isn't in danger or anything. It's not an immediate problem, but it's not solvable immediately either. And if you get involved, it'll only make things more complicated. And by might, I mean definitely will. Ariel's tone leaves zero room for negotiation. The best thing you can do for Mrazafis right now is pretend nothing's wrong. He'll figure it out on his own. Sophia pushes for at least an explanation of what the problem is. Ariel declines, citing the entirely reasonable concern that Sophia has all the subtlety of, and she says this with some affection, a moderately younger version of White. I'm afraid if you find out, you won't be able to hide it, and that'll make things awkward between you and Mrazafis for sure. Then, before Sophia can continue arguing, or do you not trust Mrazafis? Playing dirty. Sophia concedes. Then Ariel, because she's clearly in an interrogating mood, asks why Sophia is so hostile toward White anyway. White saved her life, multiple times. So what exactly is the problem? I was jealous, Sophia admits, which is the honest answer, and also the one that makes her feel worst, she explains. Hiro Wakaba, in their old world, was the person Sophia had been irrationally, furiously jealous of for years. Being reincarnated into a new world and losing everything, and then finding the same person there, still beautiful and now also catastrophically powerful, was not a spiritually healing experience. Ariel listens to the whole thing and then delivers her verdict. Sophia, are you stupid? What follows is one of the more thorough character assessments Sophia has ever received. She only thinks about herself. She assumes she has it worse than anyone. Her self-loathing is performative, an emotional transaction where feeling sorry is supposed to excuse actually doing anything. That really is awful, just like you said. Sophia goes pale, but then, still, that doesn't change the fact that you've gone through some really horrible circumstances. Don't worry, it's not like I'm going to dump you now. Some of the existential terror subsides. Ariel walks her through White's actual story. She didn't arrive in this world powerful. She was born in the Great Elro Labyrinth, the most dangerous dungeon in existence, as a spider. She survived through methods that included attacking herself with magic to raise resistance skills, because that was the only way to stay alive in that environment. No normal person would think to do that. She did it because the alternative was death. By the time she left the labyrinth, she had been through something that most humans couldn't survive for a week. When she escaped that place and met a fellow reincarnation, she was so excited, she decided to do you a favor. It's a possibility, at least. Sophia sits with this. Imagine surviving something like that, and finally escaping and finding someone who knew you from before, and having that person hate you for being too pretty. So White's life has been at least as hard as mine, maybe even worse. The jealousy starts to look, in hindsight, impressively petty. She falls asleep, resolving to apologize to White when she wakes up. The Demon Lord's soliloquy. Ariel watches Sophia sleep. She looks just like any other normal baby now. I mean, even on the inside, she's still a kid. Kids make mistakes. What matters is whether someone helps them find their way back to the right path afterward. That requires an adult, confident, not hesitant, able to explain why they're right. An adult who second-guesses themselves can't lead anyone. I don't think he's quite convinced himself of what's right yet. The subject of this unspoken observation is Mrazafis. Half-baked confidence is worse than none at all. You have to make sure you've really got it figured out. Ariel has, apparently, been playing Guardian today without planning to. If she keeps growing, she should figure out a certain someone's problem soon enough. Whatever they choose, I just hope they don't regret it. She glances toward the exit. Okay, that's the end of my soliloquy. I shall take that to heart, says a voice. Ariel decides she didn't hear anything. One day, Vampy woke up and apologized to White out of nowhere. White wasn't entirely sure what for, but, since it meant Vampy stopped being difficult about the training, she was broadly supportive of whatever emotional breakthrough had occurred. Training is going well. White's own skills, less so. They're so high already that raising them further takes enormous effort for tiny gains. The parallel minds she expelled into their own bodies appear to be handling some of this autonomously, which is either efficient or alarming depending on how much she thinks about it. She's mostly trying not to. Her main focus, Warped Evil Eye. Inside Potamus's barrier, which nullifies skills and stats affecting things outside the body, her thread and magic are useless. Warped Evil Eye still works. It's basically her only ranged option in that environment. And Potamus has now seen it used once, which means he's had time to think about how to counter it. She needs more options. The most practical one is to get physically strong enough to destroy him the way the Demon Lord did. Brute force within the body still works in the barrier, but her physical stats aren't there yet, and her level hasn't budged in a very long time. She can't kill enough monsters on this route, forests and mountains, remember, no roads, to make up the gap. Humans would do it, but she's not killing humans indiscriminately, and the only ones she encounters are bandits who don't exist in the wilderness they're traveling through. Which leads to, why not make a better weapon? Specifically, a weapon made from her own body. Her front legs are shaped like scythes. They're made of her own material, which is harder than anything she could acquire. She cuts them off. Healing magic will regrow them, uses one to cut the other, ties them together with thread. Time elapsed approximately 1 minute. Result, the giant spider scythe, a weapon that looks like it belongs to Death's personal armory, fits in her hands perfectly, and netted her the scythesmanship skill on first swing. Oh, and before she got to any of this, she also remembered the shieldsmanship skill she'd dismissed because she couldn't hold a shield. She has arms now, technically useful, but still weaker than her body. The scythe is better. The puppet spiders have also been a project. All 4 of them show up together now. They apparently had scheduling disputes about whose turn it was to be summoned, so they collectively decided everyone comes at once. The Demon Lord named them El, Sail, Riel, and Feel, which White privately thought was somewhat perfunctory, but kept to herself. Their personalities are distinct despite none of them speaking. El is confident and shrewd. Sail is timid. Riel is a tomboy and a complete airhead. Feel is a goofball who gets carried away. They make their own outfits now. The fashion choices are inventive. White is going to try to give them vocal cords eventually, which will probably be extremely loud, but probably worth it. 2 months on the road. The Demon Lord has been cooking since day 2, and it is, and this is said with full sincerity, transcendently good. The first time White ate it, she actually cried. The Demon Lord taught her how to drain blood from meat and manage spatial storage conditions for better preservation, and now every roast is an experience. Town stops mean fresh ingredients the next day, which has become one of the trip's genuine highlights. The low point, Mera. He's been brooding for weeks. He tries to hide it, but the dark cloud follows him everywhere, especially after town visits. It's affecting Vampy's concentration during training. It's affecting White's ability to enjoy the Demon Lord's cooking. Strained atmosphere is multiplying by the day. Ta-ta! Let's have some drinks to lighten the mood today. The Demon Lord returns from town bearing, not a bottle, not a few flasks, but a barrel of alcohol. She pours cups for Mera and White, pausing at Sophia with a, you probably shouldn't have any, and leads a toast. The cups clink together lightly. White has never had alcohol in either of her lives. She takes a sip of something sweet and smooth, and an indescribable sensation blooms in her chest, and she keeps sipping. The Demon Lord downs her first glass in one gulp, then a second, then a third, from the barrel, and then they move to a second barrel, and she has still not slowed down. This lady drinks like she's trying to irrigate farmland. Sophia, who was told she shouldn't have any, sneaks a single sip when nobody is looking. She is immediately unconscious. Lightweight, diagnosed, filed, not surprised. Mera is crying. Of course he is. Weepy drunk right on schedule. That's no good. Come here, you. You need to drink more. White grabs his face, prees his mouth open, and pours wine directly down his throat. Gwa! Cough! He starts choking. This is the funniest thing White has witnessed since becoming an arachne. She is rolling on the ground. Her stomach hurts. She can barely breathe from laughing. Whoa! White's laughing. And talking, for that matter. This is wild. The Demon Lord sounds delighted. White is aware she does not do this often. Mera, once he stops choking, has turned deeply red from alcohol and coughing and has found, apparently, a rage that polite servitude usually keeps buried. What would you know about it? His voice is raw. Do you have any idea how it feels to have lost everything, and on top of that, to become a vampire? White empties her glass and sets it down. I mean, I've died and lost everything once already too. And I'm a spider, you know that, right? Not even human-shaped. Vampires are just a little weak to sunlight, and they have to drink blood or whatever. You're not winning any misery awards with that one, pal. Mera's mouth opens and stays that way. She points at Sophia's unconscious form. Would you say the same thing to her? She died once and lost everything, just like me. Then she was born as a vampire, and after all that, she went through the same losing everything you did, only for her it was the second time. Get it? She's lost it all twice, but she's still doing her best to be positive and move on with her life. Can you say the same? He stares at Sophia. The math is not flattering to him. White picks up her scythe and holds the blade to his neck. If your life sucks that much, you don't have to force yourself to keep living it, right? If you want to die, I can help, you know? I'll make it as quick as I can. Well? She is not joking. Mera can tell she is not joking. He goes from crimson to the color of old paper. I cannot die. Barely audible. I can't hear you. I cannot die. I must not die yet, especially for the young Mrs.'s sake. Not cool. More like a shriek, honestly. But a very sincere shriek. See? You know what you gotta do then. She puts the scythe away. Freed from the blade, Mera slumps down like someone cut his strings. She goes back to drinking. Pretty cruel if she does say so herself. But he was making everyone miserable, including himself, and he had a reason to live. He just needed to locate it under all the existential crisis. Mission accomplished. She wakes up suspended upside down between two trees, thoroughly cocooned in her own thread, with no memory of how this happened. Mera's office is standing nearby. He has a large, genuine smile on his face, which is alarming in a completely different way from usual. Good morning. Thank you for yesterday. Thanks to you, my doubts have cleared. Yesterday? What did she... I understand now that what's important is not what I have become, but what my actions will be going forward. And I know what I must do. Until yesterday, I was so concerned over what has become of me, I was unable to steady my resolve. She nods along and disengages herself from the thread situation and descends to the ground. She has absolutely no memory of any of this, but he looks better. He's going to stop sulking. That's fine. Good for him. Cool. Good luck with that. In Mera's office's dream, the evening is warm and the Scythe has been poured into 3 cups. The master, John Karen, lord and friend, produces the bottle after his duties are done, as he does on these evenings. The mistress, Seras, arrives because she always arrives when Sake appears, insisting, as she always does, that she'll be able to stay awake this time. She never does. The cups clink together lightly, a clean sound in a comfortable room, and by the time the mistress finishes her first sip, she is already nodding off. The master smiles, lifts her gently, settles her beside the sleeping Sophia, and pats her head. She does not seem to appreciate being left out of our little evening drinks. It's quite endearing. Then his expression changes. He looks at Mera's office with something that has no right to exist in a dream. Mera's office, I am sorry. He apologizes for not being strong enough to protect Seras, for the danger, for the grief. He says Mera's office is free to set down the burden of it at any time. All the more reason that you should not apologize, master. I have chosen to protect the young miss of my own free will. He says the names out loud. John Karen, whom I hold dear as my lord and as my friend. Seras Karen, whom I love as a woman. Their child has been entrusted to him, yes. But more than that, he wants to protect her. That wanting has always been entirely his own. The master smiles, the face of a man who smiles through tears without any tears actually falling. He lifts the sleeping mistress, walks toward the door, and at the threshold turns back once more. Merazophis, take care of Sophia. He steps through. Merazophis reaches after him, knowing, even in the dream, that if he doesn't reach out, he will never see them again. He was right. He wakes with his arm outstretched, hand closing around nothing, tears on his cheeks. He brings the hand back to his face, wipes them, and stands. They came to his dream because they were worried about him. He does not want them worrying anymore. Master, mistress, sleep and be at peace. He will not hesitate again.